Time to change the oil on the 2.7 liter Ecoboost. So here's everything that I used. Bare hand to open the drain plug. 6 quarts of oil, new oil filter from Motorcraft. The oil is 5W30 full synthetic. Oil drain pan, the form of funnel. Some blue shop rags. An 1 1/16" socket to open your oil filter cap. Adapter set to put the 1/2" drive socket on the torque wrench to torque that oil filter cap to 18 foot-pounds or 24 Newton meters. And some scrap pieces of cardboard, a mat to lay on, wheel chalk. And then for me, I find a ladder to be really useful so I can reach better to refill the oil. And then this little hook tool is really helpful for doing the O-rings on the oil filter cap. There's the engine. The oil filter is in here. Dipstick and the oil fill cap is right there. First thing I'm going to do is open the oil fill cap. To drain the oil, this is my setup. So I have an oil drain pan, some blue shop towels, an oil sample bottle, something to lay on, and then I usually put some cardboard underneath. It kind of helps to keep your area clean and also helps with grabbing the full oil pan. You can just kind of pull the edge of the cardboard and slide it out from under the truck. And here's the form of funnel. I'm going to try this for the first time today. With this drain bolt, it's actually a plastic drain plug. So that yellow plug right there, it just screws off with your hand. Turn to the left. You got to be careful because there's a couple plastic tabs in the oil pan. You don't want to break those. Alright, so I'm going to get the funnel under that drain area and then kind of bend it in a taco shape or like a hot dog bun. See if I can get it to funnel the oil into my pan without making a mess on this cross member. So we're going to try it like that. It might actually shoot oil out at me. It comes out pretty quick. So I'll try to control the flow. I will also need to let some oil out before I pull the sample. So to open this, we're going to turn left. Be careful because the oil will be hot. So I'm just going to let it dribble out a little bit. So far the formal funnel is working pretty well. Shut that for a second and get my oil sample bottle. Got my blue towel ready in case I make a mess. Whoa! Yikes. That is a rush of oil to the face. But at least I kept it mostly off the cross member, so it's all over my hands and my face, but that's okay. Glad I wore a white shirt. The oil is hot. Whew. Alright, oof. So there's the sample, and it's gonna drain out slowly for the rest of the oil. So I'm just gonna let that continue to drain while I grab the oil filter and clean myself off. This is why you need the blue shop towels, because oil changes are messy. Fortunately, the Forma funnel is staying in place and it's kept the underside of the truck pretty clean, and my cardboard kept the grass clean. Here's what that drain plug looks like. So the drain plug has two O-rings. This is, I don't know, maybe like the fourth oil change I've done on this truck, and I've never changed the plug. So it's been working fine so far. I think I'll reuse it again. Well, I'll have to reuse it again because I don't have a spare. I used to have a Ronin plug on this truck, and it had an extra little notch here so that you had to push in to remove it. This one doesn't have that notch, so you do not have to push in to remove it. So to remove this drain plug, you just turn left. To remove the oil filter, you need to use tools. So I use an 1 1/16 socket. Put an extension on there. I'm gonna turn left. And then you're gonna pull straight up. The filter will come out with the cap. So on this oil filter, we're gonna pull the old filter out, and then we're gonna change 3 O-rings. A little O-ring here, and these 2 blue ones. And the O-rings come with your new filter. New filter. And you can look through your old filter, see if you notice any metal fragments. Hopefully you don't, but if you see anything shiny in here, chunks of metal, that would be a concern for your engine. So you'll know pretty quick something's wrong. Alright, so before we put the new filter on, we're going to take the old O-rings off of this. To remove the O-rings, I like to use a hook tool. So you just poke the end of the hook under the ring, grab it, and you can slide it off the end of the plastic. And then you'll do the same thing with the 2 blue O-rings. Grab with the hook, pull off. You want to give it a little wipe off so everything can look clean under your hood. And we're ready to put on our new O-rings. Inside your new filter box, you're going to have a fresh filter. Then you're going to have a plastic bag with your O-rings. I'll start with the little one because that's always the hardest for me. So you want to get one side of it in the groove. You can use your hook. I've seen other people use screwdrivers. You do want to lubricate this O-ring, but I've had issues getting it installed on this cap when it's lubricated because it makes it a little too slippery. Be careful not to stab yourself with the hook. There we go. Now it's on there. I'm going to put some oil on it before I reinstall this on the engine. And then the other 2 O-rings are much easier. Get one down Get it seated all the way around. You can put your other one on, do the same thing. Make sure you line it up with the grooves. There's little grooves around the edge of the oil cap that give the O-ring a spot to sit. So there, just make sure your O-rings are seated in those two grooves. Now we're ready to put the new oil filter on. Here's our new filter. It's just going to slide on. And then it'll click in. And there it's fully seated. I opened 1 quart of oil to grab a little bit to oil the O-rings. I need a tripod. Just grab a little bit of that oil, get it on your O-rings. Get that oil on there. Alright, and then we're going to shut this quart because we're going to need that to refill the engine. Make sure it doesn't spill. I'm going to clean out the spot for the oil filter before I reinstall it. So just give it a little wipe. Go ahead and stick it back in. Then we're going to turn to the right. This has a torque spec of 24 plus or minus 2 Newton meters. So 24 Newton meters equals approximately 18 foot-pounds. So I'm going to put that socket back on here and set my torque wrench to 18 foot-pounds. Alright, there the torque wrench just clicked. And we're done with the oil filter. Let's go check on our drain. So while we were doing the oil filter, we left the oil to drain. And checking on it now, it's just a slow drip. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that with the yellow plastic drain plug. Just wipe down our area over here. So inside that pan, you'll see those tabs that engage with the drain plug. So there's 2 little tabs. You want to be careful not to break those off when you are installing and removing your drain plugs. Then you're going to turn it to the right until it hits the stops on the pan. So let me get this funnel out of the way now that it's all closed off. I always like to give it a good wipe after the oil change is done so that you can start off with a fresh, clean slate. Having the oil pan or the drain area clean will help to show you if you have an oil leak afterwards. If you don't clean that oil off and you look under here to see how things are looking after you refill the oil, it'll make it hard to tell if the oil is just residue from your oil change or if it's actually oil that's leaking out of your drain plug or leaking out of somewhere else on the engine. So there's the plug reinstalled. And there you'll see how those tabs, those like wings, line up with plastic tabs on the outside of the oil pan. So you can't overturn that plug because it'll hit those plastic tabs. Alright, so now that that drain plug is back in, we can clear out our area down here so that we can have a better view when we go to refill our oil. Oh, there's our oil sample. We're gonna mail that off to Blackstone Laboratories. We're ready to refill the oil. One of my favorite tools for refilling oil is this Motive X Tools funnel. This is the MX2306. It's the Ford version of the funnel. It actually doesn't fit the 2.7 Ecoboost perfectly. So I had to take a Dremel to the bottom where these notches are formed into it. And I had to widen this notch so that it would fit the oil cap tabs on the top of the 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine. Here's what I'm talking about with the oil cap. You can see that one of the openings is wider. So on the left side, you have a wider notch than on the right side. So you just need to mirror that with the funnel. And the funnel just goes in the oil fill right there. Then you turn it to the right until it's tight in there. So I've got a gallon and 2 quarts. So 6 quarts is our refill quantity. We'll start with our gallon. So there's our first 4 quarts, full synthetic, 5W30. Alright, first 4 quarts are done. Quart number 5. And lastly, quart number 6. And put our cap on. And I always cover my fresh oil funnel so that it stays clean for next time. I don't want to be dumping a bunch of dust and dirt and contaminants into my new oil. So we're almost done now. We drained the oil, changed the filter, refilled 6 quarts. Now we're going to start the engine. We're going to reset our oil life monitor. We're going to record our mileage, and we're going to inspect to make sure there are no surprises. I've got the key in the on position. I don't have the engine started yet. We're going to go to our menu, and then we're going to go down till we see vehicle maintenance. Hit OK. Oil life. Hit OK. Hold OK to reset oil life. Hold down the OK button. Resetting. Now we're back at 100% oil life. And I'm going to make a note for my records. 12,730 miles on the dot. I'm going to start the engine so that I can check for any leaks or any weird things going on, and also double check the oil level. So we're going to run the oil through the engine, and then we're going to check the dipstick. I don't see any oil pouring out the bottom of the truck. We're showing oil pressure. Looks good. One last double check. Make sure I didn't leave any tools on the engine compartment before I shut the hood. Just give your work a quick double check, especially if you were distracted by something. So if someone interrupted you or was talking to you, or if you're filming a video. Sometimes I like to set tools around the engine. Not a great habit, but it's convenient. For this oil change, I did not use my ramps. So instead of using the ramps, I just squeezed myself under that running board. You might want to consider driving the front of your truck up on some ramps to give yourself a little more working space. And if you do that, please make sure to use wheel chocks just in case. Make sure that truck doesn't come rolling back down onto you. I like to keep these blue shop rags, these blue shop towels, until I'm completely done because they're really useful for cleaning out your oil pan. But these things absorb a lot of oil. because I always put 6 quarts in at each oil change. So I should get 6 quarts back out. Alright, we're getting pretty close. I don't have a good line at the top of the gallon container to check for 4 quarts, but I can kind of guesstimate. I'm just going to dump the rest of the oil in here because the 2 quarts are full. So the good news is it looks like I got exactly 6 quarts out of the truck. The oil is about to here. These will go to an oil recycling tank. Most auto parts stores should take used oil to properly dispose of it. So I try to keep all my tools clean and ready to go for the next oil change, and I store my oil drain pan outside so I don't want it to get super gross with stuff sticking to the oil residue. Looks brand new. Alright, that's it for today's oil change. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. That would be greatly appreciated.